it's just I look through like all of them. I look through like my entire library and I go, Jesus Christ, there's so many fucking games in here that I've never played one for like even a second of.
Yeah, but I
own Spyro the Reignited trilogy. I didn't even know I owned that.
Okay, let's see if I actually own Spyro the Reignited trilogy.
What the fuck?
Because I have never played that either, and yep, there it is. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. That's why. Look, I know. You know, Valve's doing their thing. You know, summer sale and whatever and stuff. But I'm going like I got too many games right now. I don't need to do that. And then I saw the freaking like announcement that is just like, oh, players like gamers across the entire world have spent $19 million on games they've never played. And I went, that's fucking wild, bro.
That's fucked, dude.
Like they've never put a single minute in or opened ever, and I'm just like, oh. But I realize how much I contribute to that, and I go, oh no, oh no.
Maybe I'm the problem here.
Nah, it's clearly other people, but I've definitely contributed to it.
Yeah.
That's why I now have this like the whole tab on like the thing. It's like you put the favorites, and then right underneath the favorites, it's games I need to finish, and it's just a bunch of games that I've never played.
And it's just basically all of them. Yeah.
Well, it's just like games that I know I want to like actually play and try and beat, or at least like play enough till I feel like I'm like satisfied with it.
Mm-hmm.
I just haven't done that. So I feel like everyone's always got that list. You look open the Steam and you just go, oh please don't scroll past the favorites, please.
Do you have any idea how long I've owned the game World of Final Fantasy before and never touched it? I bought that I think I've said this on the podcast before. I bought that game when it was brand new.
When did that come out? Was that like 2016 or something like that?
$4. Let's check. I'm pretty sure it was 2016, yeah.
That honestly sounds right because I remember my brother playing it around that time. October 2016.
I've owned that game since 2016. I paid $60 for it. Never fucking played it.
Yeah. That's me in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth right now. I got my PlayStation here. I haven't opened my PlayStation since I bought that game.
Dude, I am shocked that you haven't gotten to that one yet.
Do you know when it's like one of those things where you... It's weird, right? Like, it's like sometimes when you're watching like shows or something like that, like a show that you really enjoy or like a movie or something like that, you don't want it to like ever end, basically. Like, you always got something or whatever. Like, I've heard people talk about how they never watch like the season finale of something because they just want that feeling that it doesn't end. And I know that the 7th series isn't over after Rebirth, but I know it's going to be a long ass time before we get anything else new.
Yeah,
I think that's what my.
Oh, you're just.
I'm just like pushing off the inevitable right here. I'm just like I'm gonna do it, and then I just like I would much rather play SMT Vengeance right now, and I just go no. I definitely want to play it. I just just pushing it off.
You just don't want to face the reality of being like, man, that was really good.
Yeah.
And now I have like another like at least like. year and a half before I get another one.
Like 3-4 years.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. There's that, and then it's also just like I played like the beginning part of the game, like the tutorial part where they show off some of the new like mechanics of the game and everything like that, and I was just like, oh, this is a lot right now. It's like I feel a little overwhelmed, but and there's that. Well, it was also I was playing Persona 3 Reload at the time, and I wanted to finish that before I played 7. And then I finished 7, I finished Rebirth, not Rebirth. Rebirth's what I would play. Finished Reload, and then I said, I need to take a break because, boy, that fucking ending got me. So, and then I was just like, and then I've just kind of been sitting here, not doing much. One of my friends asked me a question that I thought was kind of interesting. What's the game you think you've played the least but are the best at? Doesn't matter whether this is like a multiplayer game or even like a single player game.
That's a difficult one.
I know, right?
Game that I've played least amount of time in my life.
But you feel like you're really good at.
Probably Street Fighter. Compared to most games, I haven't played that one very much.
See, like for me, I think
I think I'm really good at.
For me, I think it's like Darkest Dungeon. Like I feel like I could like do a full run of it. I just haven't put the time and effort to actually do like multiple full runs. Like I've beaten the game multiple times, but I just haven't done all of it. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
And then he posts me the opposite question of, what's the game you've played the longest but are the shittiest at? And I go, well, that's clearly Binding of Isaac. I fucking suck at that game, but I put over 700 hours in. So, there's that.
Probably most Halo games, if I'm going to be honest. I'm okay at most of them, but I'll be going into matches sometimes being like, yep, I got this. I'm going to shred everybody. Going to be no big deal. And I will be at like 16 deaths, maybe 3 kills sometimes. And it's just, okay.
Yeah, about
There's
that.
reality setting in.
Oh, yeah. I guess I should do a little intro of the show, right?
Yeah.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of It Never Ends. I'm Andrew. Over there is my good buddy Alex. How you doing today?
I'm okay.
I'm doing good on this nice and definitely not sunny out and definitely not going to rain 4th of July, right?
Oh, yeah, it's totally not ominous and gloomy outside.
Definitely not that. So,
dude, it's like, I hate it when this happens because it's kind of like when it's, warm and sunny on Christmas. It's like, oh, we got bright blue skies, it's a nice 30 degrees, green grass, and it's Christmas time.
Yep.
And it's not until weeks later that we get our first snowfall. I fucking hate it.
Yep. It's always what you gotta love when like things just don't make sense like that. It's just like it's weird because like this summer has been, I don't know, fairly cool of a summer as compared to like especially last year where it was the hottest.
Compared to other summers, yeah.
I feel like last year it was just like every day felt like it was over 100 degrees, and I'm just like, holy shit.
It was so bad, yeah.
So bad. This year so far it's been pretty good. So we will see.
Makes me concerned for what the winter is going to be like.
Yeah,
I'm not looking forward to that at all.
That is what you're concerned about. Is it going to be like a really cold summer? We'll find out. I didn't really have anything like planned for today, but I realized yesterday MLB put out their All-Stars for the All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
They announced all the All-Star games. There's 2 Brewers. So you got William Contreras at catcher, and then you got Christian Yelich in the outfield. So that was pretty cool. I don't know if they've said pitchers yet, because I'm curious. I doubt any of like the Brewers pitchers really get in, even though Myers has been pitching really good, but he hasn't been pitching long enough. This year he kind of came in and stepped in. Stinks. But yeah, other than that, it's like it's kind of who you'd expect to be there if you ask me. But it's like it's not like they're not undeserving of it. You got Adley Rutschmann for the AL and at the catcher's position. No surprise there. Vladdy Guerrero Jr. I thought was kind of interesting, but then I looked at his numbers most recently, and boy, they have been doing really good considering he started out the year really shit. They average around 2.7 or like 297, which is good. 13 home runs, a little low for him, but still good. 50 RBIs.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, I base this off of like last year he had a really down year, and he's kind of looking for a bounce back year. And he started like he was having like a really crap year, and then he's kind of turned it around. His OPS is up to 845. It was at 700 for a while there, and I was like, it's not quite all-star, but I was like, I know he's been on a tear recently, so it's good for him. Yeah, last 30 games, last month he hit 8 home runs out of his 13.
That's nuts. That's crazy.
Yeah. Means like for the first like 3 months he had only 5. So good for him though.
Is 5 not a lot for numbers of home runs?
For a guy that's basically like a power hitter like he is, and it took him a while to hit it. I mean, granted, there's other players that are like still struggling. It's like you look at like Julio Rodriguez. The guy hit 44 home runs last year, and he hit his first one I think a couple weeks ago, and he has been struggling hardcore. Because of that, and it's like second base. You got Jose Altuve. I don't think that's any shocker to anybody. He's one of the best second basemen in the game. Shortstop, you got Gunnar Henderson, probably the best young shortstop for the Orioles. You got Jose Ramirez, the league leader in RBIs, which I'm pretty sure he has 76. There are guys that are lucky that will end the year at 76, and we're halfway through the season. He's already at 76. So, you know.
Yeah.
he's no surprise there. DH, you got Yordan Alvarez from the Astros again. Really great year after starting out really bad again. But that's kind of the Astros in general. It's like this last 3 weeks or so have been like really good for them, and have slingshotted them back into contention in their division when everyone thought it was just going to be Mariners going to running away with it, which is weird to say considering that the Mariners are not the team I would have said would run away with the AL West. So there's that. Aaron Judge in the outfield. I mean, he's got 32 home runs already. You know, remember I was like, oh, Vladdy Guerrero had 13? Yeah, Judge has got 32.
Jesus.
Yeah. It doesn't shock me. I mean, the guy hit 62 home runs back in 2022. It's like he's on pace to potentially break that this year. If you look at his years when he hit the 62 where he is now, he's actually further ahead now than he was back then. The other Yankees outfielder, Juan Soto, no surprise there. He has nearly 1,000 batting average or 1,000 OPS. And he's just he's always gonna rip everyone a new hole. He's such a good eye at the plate, and he just walks so fucking often. I'll be very curious to see what the Yankees are gonna have to give him because this year he's entering free agency, and I'm very curious as to what he's gonna get considering that for a contract because it's like. You know, the Dodgers got Ohtani for fucking $700 million or whatever. It's like people are speculating that Soto's going to get around $500 million, and I go, Jesus, man.
$500 million. What
would you do with $500 million?
Buy every home in California.
Right, you could.
And just be king of that state.
Just like this is my state. You all live here. I let you live here.
I allow you to all live here.
Exactly. So we'll see. The other outfielder is Steven Kwan. No surprise there. The guy's hitting around 400 or something like that, or he was hitting around 400 for a while. 362. It's better than. It's always funny. It's like it was better than Arise when Arise. The whole thing with Luis Arise is that he was chasing 400, a batting average of 400, something that no player has ever done in a single season. Is have a batting average of 400, and Steven Kwan's closer to it right now than Luis Arise was at this time last year.
Wow.
The thing is it'll never happen, especially now in baseball. But the fact that he's hitting 362 is really good. So yeah, that's the AL All Stars. It's pretty good. In the National League, you got William Contreras behind the plate for the National League. Bryce Harper at first base. I mean, the guy's having a breakout year, and he's I think he won back-to-back Player of the Months as well.
Okay.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me. I think there are 3 Phillies or whatever. It's Ketel Marte. Really, Ketel is having that great of a year, huh? The D-backs are freaking sucking. You're telling me this guy's actually good? Oh, yeah. It's tied for first among second basemen with 17 home runs. OPS of 871.
a great player doesn't necessarily mean a great team, but a bad team can have a great player.
Well, I just knew the Diamondbacks were really struggling this year, so I was just curious, and I was like, well, clearly somebody has, like, there are players that have to be playing well. But I was just like, with the team struggling as much as the Diamondbacks are, I was surprised. That's where they even sitting at. I don't even know what the record is right now. It's like 42-44. It's really funny because last year, like they were looking like thinking like, oh, we could challenge the Dodgers for the top of the division and stuff like that, and end the Dodgers' reign. I go, no,
probably not.
No. Don't fool yourself. I am curious. I was like, I haven't looked at the wild. It's early in the season, but I'm curious what the MLB wild card race looks like, because I remember a while back, like every team in the National League was like either like most teams were like 3 games out or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
From a wild card spot. God, the freaking Mets, dude. Yeah, the Diamondbacks are only 2.5 back from a wild card spot right now. Dude, the Mets and the Grimace, it's fucking crazy. The Mets have single-handedly, within like a week or two, have turned their season around to where they think we might actually contend. Basically, just because Grimace showed up and blessed them with the Grimace shake.
The fact that that's a thing,
it's just like, I mean, they're, MLB players are superstitious.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's that.
You think the Mets are going to make Grimace their new mascot?
He'll be the honorary mascot for the year, I'll tell you that. Especially if they actually make the playoff spot. Oh, my God.
If we ever take Brendan to a Mets game, we're going to have to bring his ass to McDonald's first.
They got to bring back. Do you think like in New York the Grimace Shake is like still around and is just like everyone gets a Grimace Shake before going to the Mets stadium?
No,
they should.
Absolutely not.
They should if they don't.
Do they just pay McDonald's this absorbent amount of money in order to get the Grimace Shake all year round?
All year round, baby.
If that's the case, what do we need to do to get the McRib year round?
Probably nothing.
Just ask politely.
Just ask really politely.
I really want the McRib year round.
McDonald's, I know you're watching. Definitely.
I know that McDonald's execs watch this show every single week.
Oh, yeah.
And they absolutely listen to what we have to say.
Oh, yeah.
So we want the McRib year round.
Give it to us.
Now.
Anyway, moving on. It's like third base, you got Alex Baum. It's his first one or whatever. And I was like, man, he is having such a great year. I'm not surprised that he was picked for third base. Mm-hmm. Considering that there's really no other like third base standouts. I will say as a Brewers fan that Joey Ortiz was that standout, but he's also hurt at the moment, so it is what it is. And the designated hitter, to no one's surprise, is Shohei Ohtani. The guy has like 27 home runs, slugging percentage of 646, which is crazy, and has 1,000 batting or 1,000 OPS. Nobody's surprised. Nobody's surprised. It's like outfielder, you got Christian Yelich. It's like looking like he's having another comeback season after two bad years. Last year he had a pretty good one, and this year he's doing even better. So I was glad to see him back in form. You got Jurickson Profar, which I'm just like the guy that can only play for the freaking Padres. This guy literally played for the Rockies last year. Was so bad they cut him, and
now he's just doing way better this year.
And now he's hitting like 311 with a bunch of home runs and stuff like that, and is like batting like second in their lineup, and he's like they're one of their best hitters.
Oh wow.
Because this guy can, like, certain players, I swear, can only play for certain teams. For whatever reason that is. I'll never understand it. Well, that's Jurickson Profar for you. Then another Padres player with Fernando Tatis Jr., so no surprises there, I feel like, as well. Yeah. That's the outfielder. That's the pretty much all the selections for the All-Star game. Pretty good up and down. I realized I'm like, actually talking about Ketel Marte or whatever for the Diamondbacks. I'm like, why for second base? I'm like, wouldn't Mookie work for that? Oh wait, he's hurt. I forgot. He was having a really good year for Mookie was, and I was like, he was the forerunner for NL MVP this year, and then he got hurt, and I can't remember if he broke something in his hand. If I remember correctly.
Okay.
So I was like, damn. I know he got back up, but it was just like, he's not going to be playing. Yeah, pretty good though. The thing, as well as it, they've talking about. I was like, who's going to be in the home run derby this year? And everyone's just like, well, Ohtani's clearly going to be in it, and he chose to back out of it. And now everyone in the MLB is like, not so much shaming him, but at least ESPN is like trying to say, it's like, why won't you participate in it or whatever? And it's just like, you're the guy leading the NL in home runs. It's like it's dumb. And I go, he's coming off of major arm surgery last year. The only reason he's hitting this year because he's not pitching because of that. He wants to stay healthy and make sure he's recovering from that as well. I just find it stupid that ESPN would go so far as to just think that that he needs to participate for any of it to be interesting or exciting or anything like that.
I mean, we're for an exciting season, one way or the other at this point, but
I know, but it's just like, why is the face of MLB not contributing in the home run derby? Because he's coming off of a major surgery and probably wants to take that opportunity to either play the All-Star game or rest.
Yeah.
Is that so hard to understand?
I suppose it is.
I guess. Sure, whatever. I don't know. The thing is everyone talks about it. It's like, the home run derby's not been nearly as good, and I'm like, because the big players don't participate. And it's the same thing with the NBA when it comes to the dunk contest. It's like no big players really contribute to the dunk contest anymore because they don't want to hurt themselves while trying to do crazy weird dunks. Because they would rather value themselves for the season and actually try and win a championship over, entertainment of one night.
Yeah, stupid shit like that.
Yeah. I just have a problem when they say it's like, why can't he just play? And I just go, because he doesn't want to.
Sucks to suck, my guy.
It's like there are plenty of other power hitters. Go ask them if they want to participate. For both sides. I'm curious what trades will be made, is who's moving where and everything like that too. Because shortly after the All-Star game is the trade deadline for baseball. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious if anyone's moving around. I assume the White Sox will be sellers. The A's will probably be sellers. I'm curious if they'll move Mason Miller this year. They probably should, but depends on what they get for him. That's always the thing. It's just like people always say, it's like, you're the baseball guy. It's like, who's landing where? And I go, I don't know, man. Shit's crazy, bro.
It's impossible to tell.
It's impossible to tell, and other than the Marlins and the Rockies and the Athletics and the White Sox and I guess the Angels, it's everyone is still in the race. This is why it's such a weird year, because you have a few really standout teams that are doing extremely well. You look at the White Sox or not the White Sox, the Yankees. I don't know, not doing so well. The White Sox are not a team that's doing well. I'm going to tell you that right now.
No.
You have the Yankees who are doing extremely well. You have Baltimore who's doing extremely well. And the Guardians or whatever. And then it's just and then the Phillies and Dodgers and the Brewers or whatever, they're all at 50 wins. The only one that's not at 50 wins, that it's the division leader, is the Mariners. And then you look at the wild card, it's every team up to probably the Toronto Blue Jays is either, 8 games out isn't impossible to overcome. It's definitely going to be difficult. But it's even worse than the National League or whatever. It's where it's like even the freaking Nationals are 4 games out, or the Cubs are 6 games out right now from a wild card spot. God, you gotta love to see the day when, as a Brewers fan, when you see, oh, Brewers 52 wins, Cubs 39. Such a good feel.
Dude, the fucking Cubs have been getting slaughtered this year.
Dude.
I have no idea what's going on.
It's crazy to me how bad the Cubs have been, considering they have the same exact team that they had last year.
Mm-hmm.
But are somehow their bats have gotten worse. The pitching's better, but the bats have gotten so much worse that it doesn't matter how good the pitching is if you can't score runs. You know, that was the thing that the Brewers had. The Brewers had for a while, and it's like funny enough. That's what's the curse of Counsell? And I go, sure, then you can take him, Cubs. I don't know. I'll be curious to see if like the Cubs. I mean, I couldn't imagine the Cubs selling, right? Like, there's no way in my mind that they would sell. The only players that I think they would trade are like Cody Bellinger. And, like, I mean, maybe Imanaga. But, like, I feel like that's a stretch.
Yeah.
Like, Bellinger makes sense because he's going to opt out of his deal this year, probably. Well, maybe he won't now that he's... I mean, not that he's having a bad year. It's just he's having a down year considering
just kind of
last year.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like it's
Come on, man! You're supposed to be the baseball guy.
I don't know. Like it's hard because it's like they're not going to trade. They're not going to trade their like their core or whatever. They're not going to trade Morel. They're not going to like maybe Ian Happ, but I don't. I mean, some team will want like a power hitting, switch hitting outfield, I guess. But I just couldn't see it. A team that I might actually like try and like get some bats or is the Pittsburgh Pirates, but I don't know how invested they are in this season, or if it's just like a building season for next season, maybe potentially. But then again, I feel like I've been saying that with the Pirates for the past 10 years. Because it's like when you look at that Pittsburgh team, it's like you look at like their starting five. They have one of the best starting fives with like even like with like Paul Skeens and like Mitch Keller and what's his name, Jared Jones or something, Jared Jones, I think it's what it's called. I think that's what his name is. It's like they have the potentiality. If they could make a playoff spot, they'd be a team that you do not want to face. Yeah, it's like Mitch Keller is really good. The Martin Perez has been pretty good for them. Skeens has been, really, really good. Guy throws 100 miles an hour and can do that for 6+ innings. It's like he's real good. He's real good. It's like you look at their lineup or whatever. It's like they had Yasmani Grandal. I didn't realize they had Yasmani Grandal. Okay, it's interesting. It's like, yeah, you got. What's your standout here or whatever? It's like O'Neal Cruz, I guess. I don't know. He's still kind of untested, but he's a good shortstop. It's like Ke'Bryan Hayes is pretty good. I don't know. I thought I remember him not having that much of a great year so far. 53 hits. Yeah, it's definitely not a good year for him. 233 average, OPS of 605. That's rough. Considering the MLB average is 700, that's low.
Yeah.
Only 3 home runs, 20 RBIs. Yeah. I mean, he's got a great glove at third base, but you need to actually do well in the hitting department. Considering last year you played 124 games, hit 15 home runs, 61 RBIs, and then had an OPS of 762. It was pretty good. He was pretty good. It's like I know the big name they have is like Brian Reynolds. That's their big outfielder that they have.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how he's been doing lately. Let's take a look, shall we? Sportscast, am I right? Yeah, 13, 47 37 RBI, 31 RBIs. OPS of nearly 8. It's pretty good.
Not bad.
It's pretty good. He signed a big contract with the freaking Pirates over the last off season, which I thought was quite interesting because I thought that he would just basically go from contract to contract until it was free agency with him, or that potentially the Pirates were going to end up trading him at some point, but they are not doing that, I guess. And good for them.
All right.
The Reds are a team that I could see I know I'm listing only the Central Division people or whatever. Reds, I don't know what the Reds need. Reds need pitching, I guess. If I had to think about it. And again, their lineup isn't anything to write home about either. Suter, I remember that guy. He's great. I mean, you have the MLB leader in stolen bases with Ellie De La Cruz. What is he up to? I think now 40 something. Well, he's at 39. God. I want to point out Bryce Terang is second in the National League in stolen bases. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna real fast look up Bryce Terang's number because I don't remember off the top of my head, but I thought it was in the mid-20s. He's at 28. Still really good, but it's not 39. No, I've honestly been really surprised with Ellie De La Cruz. When the Reds brought him up, I thought he was just going to be like he was really fast, but he struggles with hitting like curveballs, like anything off speed. Really, that's not a fastball. He struggled to hit. This year, he's kind of proved me wrong, in a way. Like he's getting on base and he's hitting home runs and just doing anything like a near the top of the lineup guy should be doing.
Okay.
And that's mentioned being one of the fastest players in all of baseball. So there's that. So if I look last year at his numbers or whatever, it's like he only had a 235 batting average and OPS of 710. It's not particularly great. This year he's hitting 251, a little bit better, but an 881 OPS, which means that his on-base percentage is already better than it was last year, which means he's walking more than he did last year. Yeah, looking at this already, last year in 98 games, Ellie De La Cruz only drew 35 walks. And in this year alone, in 87 games, he's drawn 39 walks, which is already more than he did all of last year, which means that he's being more disciplined.
Nice.
As much as I hate to you didn't talk about the competitor or whatever, he is a really good player. I just look at the rest of this Reds lineup and I go, ugh. It's rough.
Not good.
It's not bad. It's just not great. You have a lot of pitchers that are really kind of struggling. Like Hunter Green, one of their better pitchers, has really been struggling this year. It's like Nick Martinez has been pretty good. They don't really have a closer. I think that Ashcraft's been having a pretty good season too. But it's like, your first baseman is like Candelario. Not bad, just not particularly great. Like Jonathan India has not been doing really that great. Okay, take that back a little bit. He's got a 271 average. 777 average or OPS.
That's something.
Yeah, take that back. He's not been bad. I just think back to when he won Rookie of the Year in, I think it was 21. Yeah, he hit 21 homers and 69 or 69 RBIs that year.
Shit.
So, not bad. Pretty good. 21 Rookie of the Year, so it's just like, yeah, that's definitely Rookie of the Year numbers. 150 games. Okay, I didn't see that part too. Okay. Not bad. Anyway, get off the Reds for a second, I guess. I don't know. It's tough. It's like the Mets. I feel like are now buyers considering how well they've been playing lately. But I sit here going just like, what do they need? I guess what do they need to do is they need to lock down Pete Alonso for a long-term deal. That's what they really need to do. But considering you're the what is it? The Mets have the highest payroll in all of baseball right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Can they? Do they want to do that? Wow, they even lost today 1-0. Come on, what the heck? What you doing, Mets?
They don't have Grimace, dude. What do you want them to do?
What you doing over there? Silly. God,
No,
Quintana really threw that well. Wow, Winker hit a home run. Are you kidding me? Jeez.
Haven't the Mets been on a pretty steep decline for like even the past couple of years now?
Well, they won. What is it? They won like 100 games back in 2021 or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking it's like, oh yeah, we got a really good team here, so let's extend all these main players that were part of that 100-win team or whatever. Even though we fucking sucked it up to the Padres in the playoffs, and that was really funny to watch. And then last year they sucked. They sold Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander to other teams just so that way they can get some guys off their payrolls. And now they're sitting here going just like, well, now we're still paying Brandon Nimmo and Jeff McNeil and what's his face, Francisco Lindor, a lot of money. And we're still not winning. So, there was that. And then all of a sudden, and then this year, it was looking about the same. But then Grimace came and saved everything. It is really funny though that around the time Grimace showed up, they actually started really playing well and now are only two games back from the Cardinals for a wild card spot at the moment.
They were inspired, dude.
They saw Grimace throw out that first pitch, and they were like, "Damn, dude, we could do that." I mean, like what are the? I should look at this. So, like, what are the Mets needs? They need a third baseman because Brett Beatty's not been doing too hot. Although I don't know who they have at third base at the moment. Is this that Vientos probably? If I had to take a guess, that Mark Vientos. Yeah, how has he been doing? Oh, actually pretty good. Yeah, I mean 11 home runs, 29 RBIs from a guy that they thought wasn't going to be the main everyday third base starter. I'd say that's pretty good. So I guess third base isn't really a need. You got Francisco Alvarez catching. I guess outfielders you potentially want some help, considering I'm looking at their outfielders and they have Harrison Bader, Ben Gamel, Brandon Nimmo is probably their only like really good starter, DJ Stewart and Tyrone Taylor. Ugh. Although how okay, Nilla's not been doing bad. How has Bader been doing? After a very bad season with the Yankees last year, I was curious. Not bad, not great, but not bad. Very, very average. It's probably some outfielder help. I mean, pitchers wise, I don't know enough about these pitchers. It's really what it comes down to. God, I forgot they have Adrian Hauser. Brewer's guy that really didn't do as well as we had hoped, and now is with the Mets. I know they had him as a starter for a while, and then he sucked, and now they moved him to the bullpen, and he's actually been not too bad by the looks of it.
Okay, that's good.
So that's a start. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just like pitching and then like outfield help, just by the pure look of it. They're probably gonna make some moves. I'm curious in who they'll make the moves for, though. Like, if you do make moves, you're gonna be trading prospects. Like, are you willing to trade like Brett Beatty? Potentially. I don't know what other main prospects they have. That's the one I always think of, because I remember remember that Alvarez was a big prospect or whatever, but now he's been starting in the majors, so can't really call him a prospect anymore. I mean, I assume the Dodgers probably won't do much of anything. Why should they? I look at this team and it's freaking stacked. It's like you got Yamamoto, Glasnow for your 2 starting pitchers or whatever. Gavin Stone against Jim Paxton. I mean, maybe starting pitching help. Maybe. Kind of feel like the Dodgers are sitting pretty. I mean, they might look for maybe some outfield help, but I don't see what for. Like it's just like I'll look at these rosters or whatever, and it's hard to say what any team needs.
Mm.
It's like I don't know when Mookie's due back. I know he had like I can't remember if it was like a broken hand or what it was. Something that would sideline him for a while. It was a left hand fracture. That's right. God damn, that was a while ago. Yeah, I guess like outfield, middle infield help. But I think when Mookie comes back, that's kind of gets solved. So you're just kind of waiting and hoping that he comes back soon.
Basically.
Pretty much. That's how I look at it.
I'm just out of my league here.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And we can get off baseball whenever. I'm just kind of going over things because I'm just like I always like trying to figure out like what changes here and anything like that. It's like, but I'm curious. But I'm just like I'm racking my brain because I'm not very good at this stuff. Like I could tell you what the Brewers need. The Brewers need starting pitching because they've used 16. They'll be using. So they just made a trade for the guy from the Rays. And it'll be their 16th pitcher used as a starting pitcher this year. That's by far the most that any team has done this year, just because of all their injuries and everything like that. And I'm just like, God damn. It's like, thank God we've had like Freddie and Tobias Myers. Like really, I was like, Freddie has consistently stayed healthy. Thank God for that. I'm gonna knock on some wood over here so that way that doesn't get jinxed. Along with Tobias Myers. What do you want? No, don't switch the thing. But it's like Colin Ray has been really good. So it's like we have our top 3 pitchers that have done really well. It's like you have Freddie Peralta, Tobias Myers, who's recently stepped into the top 3 in my mind, and then Colin Ray. These are like our or like guys that are like we know we're gonna start every 5th day as of right now, but after that. It's a crapshoot. It's like we've been using Bryce Wilson as a starting pitcher, considering he was a starting pitcher for Pittsburgh. It's he's used to it. But it's like we traded for Dallas Keuchel, the 2015 Cy Young winner, back in and kind of fell off the face of the earth after like 2018. I was surprised he was still in the majors. And he's pitched 2 games and actually hasn't looked half bad. The first start was rough, but the second one actually looked really good. Fucking crazy. But as people always say with the Brewers, it's like they could teach a monkey how to pitch, for God's sakes, and he'd be a Cy Young winner all of a sudden. Because for whatever reason, whatever the Brewers and their pitching staff do, like with Chris Hook, whatever Chris Hook does to these pitchers or whatever, or like how he sees the code and how everything works. Dude, I don't know what it is, but that guy needs a raise. Like 100% he needs a raise. Keep him around no matter fucking what. I was really worried when Counsell went to the Cubs or whatever that he was going to take a bunch of assistants with him and everything like that. And I was like, oh, please don't take Chris Hook, man. Don't do it. He's like, I would have been so pissed off along with Brewers fans. Like, one, I was like, I'm already pissed at Counsell for going to the Cubs, but I would have been even more mad if Chris Hook would went with him. Oh, so glad he didn't. Just keep this man though. Goddamn though, it's like I don't know. I look at this lineup though, and it's like the outfield is stacked. The infield's pretty jammed up at the moment. So it's like, I mean, I would say it's like, oh, you could probably trade Jake Bauers potentially, but I don't. For what? For who? Who would want him? And I go, I don't know. It's like because you got Hoskins to play first. it's like position players I think we're pretty set at the moment. But it's like if you trade for a starting pitcher, and God even knows what's out there for starting pitching. I mean, there's the White Sox pitcher that everyone's been looking at, who's had a really good year. I forget what his name is, like something Crochet, if I remember correctly. I mean, they'll probably trade that Michael Kopech too. That's their closer, who's been doing really. Here it is, Garrett Crochet. Yeah, 3.02 ERA, 141 strikeouts in 18 games. Shit, dude, that's really good. I mean, if the Brewers can make a trade for him, that'd be a great piece to have in a rotation.
I don't particularly see that happening, but it's a nice thought at least.
I mean, because here's the thing. The White Sox don't care to have... They want prospects. And the Brewers have a really deep prospect role, like in players that could make an impact later on or whatever. So it's just like, if they're willing to go to trade some of these young prospects that they have for him, then it can happen. Thing is, though, will they? I don't know. Some part of me says no. And considering, I think I heard a report recently that the Brewers are going to look look inwards or whatever, basically look to maybe promote some of these young guys in AAA to try and fill that slot. Probably tells me they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
As much as I would love for that to happen, it's probably not going to happen. God, dude, I didn't realize Maldonado's on the White Sox. Oh, God. I can see why everyone says he's the worst. He's one of the worst pitchers or hitters in baseball.
Why do you say that?
An average under 100 and OPS of 304. Remember when I said the MLB average is 700? He's at 304.
Jeez.
Yikes. What I was like, I remember seeing something that WAR wins over replacement, above replacement is like a negative 4 or something like that. That's crazy. Anyway. Now, my only concern for the Brewers is that I don't want them to trade Willie. If they don't trade Willie Adames, please, for the love of God, because all we're gonna do is that it's gonna kill the morale of this whole season basically, and everyone's just gonna fall flat, because that's what will happen. And because it's just I look back in 2020, I think it was 2021 when we traded Josh Hader. And then the team kind of went from, we could be looking like we could make a wild card spot to now we didn't even make the playoffs. And the whole the second half of the season, there felt like it just, there was no energy in the team or anything like that. It just kind of felt like they were playing just to play. And I was just like, yeah. And you trade a team leader like Willie, it's going to be even worse. So it's like you can't trade him. But he's going into free agency over this next season or whatever. So the Brewers have two options in my mind. You either need to extend this guy, which I want them to do. I want them to extend him to keep him at shortstop for the Brewers, because I know he hasn't had super all-star numbers or anything like that, but he's a team leader and you need to keep him around or whatever, and he keeps everything light and everything fun. He keeps it's just. He's a crucial part to the team. Either that, or you need to let him walk in free agency. If you don't think that you could sign him, it's just you gotta take that hit or whatever, and just say sorry, we can't pay you what you want. Even though I think we absolutely could.
Probably, yeah.
Just will they? Ugh. I don't know. Anyway, we can get off baseball now. I was just running through my head.
No, it's cool. You see, I find all this interesting. The problem is I just don't have a whole lot to really add to the conversation, because I just don't know a whole lot about this stuff.
Yeah, it's fair. It's fair.
Well, unless we want to get onto the topic of politics, which we may not want to this week.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, what happened? I mean, why would I ever think that?
Let's
let's not do that.
Let's save that maybe for next week. I have a lot to say about how in the next couple of months the U.S. might become a fascist autocracy. But
anyway, moving on.
Yeah. So I got a pretty positive update actually about that. What Sony's doing with their Blu-ray disc division.
Ooh.
So for anybody that didn't know, Sony's putting up a bunch of layoffs in their Blu-ray distribution sectors, and it was rumored that in the next couple of years they want to shut those divisions down completely, which of course would be devastating for the physical media market. Apparently the only one that they plan on completely shutting down is the consumer like compact discs that they sell in stores and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Which it's whatever, not many people really use those things anymore anyway. At the exact same time, I do still think that this indicates a pretty scary future in terms of physical media. And I want to ask again, especially with this news now, how much longer do you think, things like Blu-rays and physical games have before that shit is phased out completely?
I mean, I'd like to think that it's probably going to go for at least whatever the next generation of PlayStation, Xbox, whatever is. Even I think even Switch 2, whatever the Switch 2 or whatever will be, it will probably have still have the little cartridges or whatever.
I think the Switch 2 might. I'm becoming less and less convinced that PlayStation and Xbox will though. Because
I think one more, but it's just it's hard to say, right? Because it's
mm-hmm.
I know that the non-disc drive PlayStation sold more than the one with, but
there's still a sizable market for physical media. But
there's still plenty of people that like having it.
Mm-hmm. The problem is that that's basically, I think, almost shrinking every single day. It's Xbox's whole strategy right now is completely relying on their digital market. They are putting Activision games on Game Pass, so I think they very much consider what they're doing digitally to be the future. And with Sony taking this massive backing off from the physical market, does that indicate that they're looking to go in the same direction?
I mean, it could. It really could. Well, I mean, Sony also has their what was it? Their a PlayStation Essentials thing or whatever, where they're trying to put more games on that. I feel as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just
it becomes hard with video games because I get that people, are talking oh, well, what about video game preservation? Nowadays, most games, I hate to say it, if they don't get their massive day one updates, either they don't run or most of the content just isn't on the disc to begin with.
Yeah.
So it's we're already in a generation where we're kind of fucked in that department.
Yeah.
If these games go away, they're just gone. There are scarily few ways to preserve them.
I feel ever since developers / publishers realized that you could put out not necessarily always a half-baked game, but it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect right off the bat.
Yeah.
And realize that even if it's not perfect already, say there's some bugs or glitches, we'll just fix them at a later date, whatever. As long as it's not super game breaking or whatever, it's it's not a big deal, right?
Yeah.
So, and I feel that's kind of just the mentality a lot of devs and publishers have had over the past, I don't know, decade at this point, I feel like. when was it like that where it was just But when did that shift really start? I always feel like it was back to like around, like, what was it, like 2014 or something like that. I feel like was like the time where I was like, oh, Steam was really like getting traction, and like the games were doing that, were coming out like that, and then online services were being more and more.
I want to say, I don't think it was at the beginning of like the PS4, Xbox One generation. I think it was like almost midway through that. If
like,
that
I want to
makes any
say
sense.
it was like midway through the PS3 and like Xbox 360 time.
You really think?
I do
so?
believe so.
Okay.
Like if I had to guess, because I was like, I remember opening up the PS3 or whatever a lot of times, and like opening my PS3, and there would be like constantly updates for games or whatever. And the thing is like, I remember specifically that the PS3 was terrible at handling updates to games, because it would take like fucking 20 minutes for anything to load, and it was annoying as hell.
The PS3 was just a
It was garbage.
bitch of a piece of hardware in general, but
that's why I was just like, man, the PS4 was such a big upgrade.
yeah. God, in hindsight, Sony really turned shit around that.
God, they really did. It's like the PS3 was not great. It was a big, bulky, like just hunk of junk, and then the PS4 was just like, oh my god, this is actually a good thing, and then we're actually putting out good games with it. Whoa!
Who would have thought?
Who would have thunk?
But no, it's like this very much is the direction I see things going in, and maybe this is just me being, you know, an old man or whatever. I don't feel old. I'm not even 30. But
We're old in comparison to a majority of the internet.
I suppose so. Like, call me old school. I like owning my shit.
Yeah.
Like it's you know, you hear that and you think, oh, that's self-explanatory. Everyone likes owning their stuff. It feels more and more nowadays like companies want us to get, you know, be comfortable with us not owning our stuff. It's like, think of it from like Disney's perspective. Perspective, right?
Yeah.
It's like, why sell someone a movie for like $20-$30 when they could just, you know, give you Disney Plus and then charge you every single month for that exact same movie?
Yep.
It's like people talk about all the time about how the, you know, Game Pass model is unsustainable, but gradually that's the direction that the games, movies, television wants to go in, because that's the model that guarantees the most.
Yeah. I mean, that's why streaming services have gone just like through the roof, and like everything's getting like it's not like, I mean you were talking, it's just like how like, oh, you don't see like DVDs or like Blu-rays or whatever, and you're about to see them less and less now. It's just like there's a reason for that, like you're saying. And it's just like when every streaming service is trying to compete for your like time as well, it's just like, oh, you like, you always hear about like, oh, you know, Amazon's doing all this stuff or whatever, for like with like new shows and everything like that. It's like same thing what Netflix is doing or whatever. It's like Netflix has like, I think partially been like that for a while now. They've been constantly just like trying to like make new shit, and even if it's bad, just make new shit just to keep people interested, keep people around. Because if they continue to just watch the old shit, they're gonna get bored of it, and then they're gonna unsubscribe, and then we won't have money.
And what's the like benefits for them for just, you know, selling the thing that people want rather than getting them into your subscription service?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, well, I can, you know, go out buy this once, and I don't need Netflix. Well, from their perspective, they're like, well, we want you to need Netflix, so unless you have Netflix, you're not getting your thing.
That's why I always find that movies feel the opposite. It's like there's still such a drive to try and get people to go to theaters, to like do stuff with like the theaters and everything like that. It's like, go out, go see movies, go to the theaters or whatever, because movies don't make nearly as much money on subscription base than they do in the theaters.
That's true, but at like the same time, even in that market, it's like you see Best Buy completely getting rid of their DVD section. They're apparently like Target and Walmart are gonna follow suit with that.
Yeah, but
And
that's why I find it's just like odd that movies are still kind of like that. It's like they want that big initial push, but after that they're okay with being on like streaming services.
Yeah. It's bizarre, man.
It is bizarre.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like my dad was like even talking about like potentially wanting to get rid of cable and get like YouTube TV or whatever because he was talking to one of his friends that like recently switched to YouTube TV, and I'm just like, I mean, you still have TVs that are like as old as 2014 or whatever. It's like you need to buy like new TVs to be able to do that, and then it'd be, yeah, trying to explain to it was a lot, but it was just like, yeah, I mean, you could.
My parents just switched from cable to Hulu not too long ago.
See that's what I said. I was like, you should. Yeah, I was like, I mean, I guess you can look into like either YouTube or like Hulu or whatever. It's just the thing is like I know what my dad would want. My dad would want to have the Brewers or whatever, and you need to have a Bally Sports app or the Bally Sports thing or whatever to watch them, and that's an extra. I think it's like $80 for the whole season. It's like
that's not bad at all, actually.
I mean, just for like the Brewers though.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not like that would be like a whole year subscription or something like that. No, that's just like for the 150 odd games that they're gonna have on Bally Sports. I don't know, and you wonder why Bally Sports is going under.
Yeah.
It's like they have deals with like, some TV providers. Like my parents get Bally Sports through TDS right now. So that's why they don't really care about, thinking about Bally Sports because they already have it just with their current cable subscription.
Mm-hmm.
But if they ever wanted to switch one day, I was like, I mean, sure, go for it. It'll probably be cheaper in the long run, but I know how you guys work. You'd be so confused in how everything works, and you just go like, wait, I could watch what I want to watch at any time rather than having to go just flip through channels to see what's on. And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of the beauty of it.
I thought my parents were going to have that problem for a while. I was lucky, though. They figured everything out relatively quickly.
Yeah.
I had to teach them how to do stuff like, change their password or whatever when that all went down, but they all made it relatively easy.
Nice.
I'm guessing that wasn't the case with your parents.
Oh, no.
It's just weird to think about. Like, we've been talking about this for a few years now. Like, I get we may not want to harp on about this, but I always foresaw, like, the rise of digital media and like the kind of slow death of physical media happening within my lifetime. The fact that that I think it's like actually plausible now that in the next even like decade or so, the idea of like standard like DVDs and Blu-rays becoming a collector's item rather than just a normal thing that companies are expected to put out is crazy to me.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess with the rise of streaming or whatever, it's like the death of physical media, I guess, is just going to be, I guess, happen. Doesn't mean I'm going to be happy about it.
Well, it's kind of on the consumer at this point, too. Like, obviously, people like us still buy physical media, but more and more people that are getting into gaming, they're just seeing it as easier and cheaper to just get the digital version.
Well, and also just like, I mean, also you talk about people getting into gaming or whatever, and it's oftentimes just like young kids or whatever. It's just like they don't want to go down to like freaking, I don't know, GameStop, Walmart, whatever.
How the fuck is GameStop still
around? Yeah, how the
dude?
fuck is GameStop still around?
What are they even doing anymore? They tried switching it up to NFTs because their actual business is dying.
Well, didn't they? Wasn't there like a plan at one point when they had like Reggie or whatever to like try and do like more of getting more esports or whatever and like host esports events and stuff?
And didn't he just give up or something?
Well, that was the plan, or I think that's what he suggested, and then he left the board at GameStop because apparently his ideas were too wild and radical, as he put it on his Twitter page, if I remember correctly. And I went, wow, you really told Reggie that he's too wild and crazy? That's pretty.
So what the fuck is their plan then? Like, imagine if the next like generation of consoles, like everything except Nintendo, is all digital. Are they just gonna be like, they're fucked? Well, I guess we're fucked.
Yeah, you're fucked. It's straight up,
not
you're
fucked already, but
yeah, but doubly so. I think this time.
Yeah.
God, it is...
like since the PS4 era, I haven't known anybody to go to GameStop for anything really.
Yeah.
Man, it used to be such a treasure when I was a kid, being able to just go there when I was a kid, check out all the game demos, just browsing the shelves for like hours.
Well, and you know the one like Target right next to the little GameStop just off the road there.
Yeah.
It's like my mom would always want to go into Target or whatever, and I was like, can I go over to the GameStop or whatever? And she's like, yeah, sure, fine, whatever. So then I'd run over to the GameStop or whatever. I'd be in there for like fucking 45 minutes looking at just the same shit over and over and over. Mm-hmm. And you just go just like, oh hell yeah, it's like, this is great. You watching like little TVs with all the trailers kind of floating around or whatever. Like every once in a while they have like a conversation with like a developer or something like that,
reading the backs of the boxes.
Hell and shit. Yeah. And then when your mom comes to get you or whatever, she just goes, all right, we're gonna go. And he's like, wait, can I buy this game? Can we get this game? Can we get this game, please?
Every single time. My parents hated that, dude.
Yeah, it was rough.
It was a different time.
It was a different time. Then I bought Mega Man Battle Network 3 Blue, and I really had to heart my mom for that. And then I found out that the internal battery was busted, and I needed to take it back so I could actually save the game on the game.
Oh no!
And I didn't have it within me to tell my mom that we bought a game that was broken.
We need to go get a new one.
We need to return this and go get a new one. And I'm like, I couldn't do it. I just live with it. I was playing Mega Man on the hard mode or whatever because you couldn't die. If you died, it was game over, and they'd send you back to the main screen to like reload your game. But guess what? Yeah. I couldn't save, so I was just fucked. I recently told my mom, I was like, because they were like going through like stuff for a garage sale or whatever, and they were like, well, you still want this old Game Boy and stuff like that? He's like, hell yeah, I still want my old Game Boy. It's like, you kidding me? And he's like, what about all like games and stuff like that? I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. And I was like, the batteries are probably dead in them, but that's okay. And they're like, wait, what? I was like, yeah, there are batteries within the old game cartridges or whatever that allow you to like save, and like you need to replace them if you want to like save your game on them anymore. That blew my parents' mind. They were like, there are batteries in these things? Like, that's weird. They couldn't comprehend that.
Dude, one of these days, those are going to be worth some money.
Dude, I know.
Hang on to those.
That's what I said. I was like, well, we got to hang on to like the Game Boy stuff because then, like, probably not that so distant future. They're going to be worth a good amount in like pretty good condition.
I was able to get my Game Boy and my old like Nintendo DS from my parents not too long ago.
Hell yeah,
dude! My old DS, I used to play the fuck out of that thing. So that thing is in such shitty condition.
Oh, absolutely. So is mine.
I'll have to show you sometime, but it's like the top screen, it just flops around every single time I open it.
Yep. Did you have? I remember I had to. Because this is back when I still did the policy with like Best Buy or something like that. So if like the thing broke within like the year or two you had it, you could replace it. Mm-hmm. I fucking broke 2 Game Boy SPs and 1 DS within like 2 years.
Shit.
Or something like that. It was like I broke my first SP because I dropped it, and it was like the screen like worked, but like it was still broken on the edge or whatever. So it's like we should go replace it because we brought the insurance or whatever. So next time we were in town, Mom was just like, all right, we'll stop at Best Buy and go do that real fast, and got it or whatever. And then same thing happened again about 4 months later. Got a new one or whatever. I think it was then like another 3 months later after that, the DS came out. And it was just like, and then I convinced my mom, it was like, we need to get the DS. It's got 2 screens, man. It's got 2 screens. Oh, that was a hard sell on my mom. She's like, how do you look at 2 screens at once? I'm like, don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. That was like the last Nintendo system I think I got, because my brother got like the 3DS or whatever. Mm-hmm. Mainly because his DS had died, so he was like, "Oh, the 3DS was new at the time, so they got that." I think I may have gotten a DS Lite at some point.
I got the DSi. My brother got the 3DS. I never got one of them.
I never did either. I always thought the 3DS always gave me a fucking headache looking at the 3D shit.
Yeah.
Then I realized you could turn off the 3D shit, and I'm like, "Oh, this is so much better."
Then they put out the 2DS.
Yeah.
It looked bizarre.
You always like how obscure and weird the 3D train was for like a little bit there. Mm-hmm. It was just always so funny. It's like, oh, everything like push 3D, everything's 3D or whatever, 3D movies, 3D TVs, and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, it's just like we fully backtracked that.
Well, the problem was that the 3DS, I think, completely missed that hype train.
Yes.
By several years.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do remember that when that was a thing.
It was always
renting,
so
weird. Spy Kids 3D Game Over from the library.
Hell yeah.
And being constantly confused, being like, why isn't the 3D working? TV's not built for it. We need to go buy one of those fucking, crazy-ass 3D TVs.
Yeah. The 3D TVs. Or you go watch it, and you would watch it or whatever, and it's like, why does it look so bad? Well, you got to be using the glasses. There are glasses with this?
I really feel for anybody that bought a 3D TV during that time. I really do, because that must have been a horrible investment.
See, that's what I always thought about with the curved stuff as well. It's like, you had those curved monitors, the curved TV or whatever, and I was just like, what is the point of that? I don't know. What point does the curved TVs and stuff like that do?
I don't know. I wouldn't be able to tell you.
I'm curious now because I've never known the difference in why.
I think they argued that you got a better.
I mean, wasn't it that they got you got a better picture or something like that? It almost simulates depth or whatever.
I guess you could make that argument.
I love how I look. Curved versus flat monitors. What's the difference? In the world of viewable media, immersion is the golden standard for work. And I went, what?
And I guess curved is more immersive.
I guess. Curved monitors are more comfortable for your eyes. I'm not sure I follow that.
I disagree, but whatever.
Sure, whatever. I've never really cared for it. I guess they're great for ultra wide. It's really all I see, the difference between the two.
Okay, I could maybe see it for ultra wide.
For ultra wide specifically, when it comes to the extra width or whatever, it's just it's rather than it being in the periphery of your viewing or whatever, it's now it's kind of in the main sight vision, I guess. Is that how you say that?
I guess so.
Okay, I guess that makes sense.
Part of me would just rather buy multiple monitors.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's why I have 2 monitors here.
Same.
Could you like? I have like the computer at like at work or whatever that is like a single screen, but I was like, I so wish it was dual monitored, and it's like working on that computer or whatever. I almost just want to buy a second screen and plug it in myself. Like, that's how annoyed I am at work, where I'm just like, God, I need a second screen so bad. It's like I flip back and forth between these two fucking things so often that it's like I'm just better off getting a second screen. Or even like I think my parents have like an old monitor down at their house that I could probably just like get in there and hook up and myself. I so want to. I've been working with dual monitors for so long. It's like I can't even imagine going back to a single screen anymore.
I couldn't either. I just couldn't do it.
It's too scary.
It's been dual screen ever since I was in college, and that's not changing now.
No. Yeah, it's not changing, I think, anytime soon. If anything, I might potentially get a third, but I think 2 is fine. 2 is enough.
At least for right now.
Yeah. Maybe at some point.
Well, that's all I got. You want to call it?
Yeah, I was just about to say, I was like, want to call it there?
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. So, thank y'all so much for watching another episode of It Never Ends. Thank you for listening to the ramblings of a guy who sort of knows baseball, but, like, doesn't know everything in the baseball ramblings, and then...
You're supposed to be the baseball guy.
I'm the baseball guy that's not the biggest baseball guy, surprisingly enough. Oh, it's one thing hold on real fast. Before we end, what I think is very cool is that I've talked about John Boy Media or whatever before. It's like they have like their own what they call the warehouse games, which is them playing like wiffle ball or pickleball or something like that. It recently got picked up by Bally Sports to show like before and after like MLB games and stuff like that. And it's just like it's so funny that's the thing. It's like that Bally Sports is trying to stay above by channeling guys that like are basically have been growing for the past few years. And it's like it's not a bad idea. It's just like it's really funny because it's like every so often I'll watch those warehouse games on their YouTube channel and they swear a lot, and they apparently had to bleep them out. And I go, is the whole episode just a big bleep? Did they have them re-record the audio and replace it? Like what? I always thought that was funny.
Jesus.
Yeah. Anyway, thank y'all so much for listening to another episode or watching on the. So be sure to subscribe onto the feed if you're not already, the YouTube channel, or check out the YouTube channel so you can see our faces and everything like that as we go along. There's really no other reason to subscribe to YouTube other than that, other than just to have a YouTube thing stuff. What? I don't know. Anyway, be sure to check out my boy at Tom Cruise Can't Lose at his at the links below, as well as stuff that I'm doing. I was like, I've been posting more on YouTube, and hopefully by this time I will have posted at least a couple more by the time you hear this. And yeah, see y'all next week. Bye-bye.